Be me, 23-year-old barista at independent coffee shop. English literature major from state school. Spent college years deep in feminist theory. Judith Butler, Bell Hooks, Simone de Beauvoir. Wrote thesis on subverting patriarchal norms through radical self-actualization. Work at this place called Bean Revolution. Owned by this older woman named Patricia. Patricia is 58, runs the place with her husband Tom. Tom does books, ordering, repairs, back-end stuff. Never says much, kind of invisible. Patricia is the face, does hiring, customer relations, community outreach. Get hired because Patricia likes my energy. Tells me she appreciates young women with strong voices. Pay is minimum wage plus tips. Split tips evenly among all staff. Sounds fair, very egalitarian. Couple months in, start noticing things. Patricia always talking about supporting women. Hosts monthly, women's book club at the shop. Donates day-old pastries to women's shelter. Has signs about smashing the patriarchy by the register. Sells feminist zines from local artists. Seems cool at first. Actually feels like working somewhere that aligns with my values. Not just corporate bullshit. Then I start paying attention to the actual dynamics. Tom comes in at 5 a.m. to start baking. Patricia rolls in at 9 a.m. when shop is already running. Tom fixes the espresso machine when it breaks. Stays late doing inventory and bookkeeping. Patricia does like 2 hours of social media and customer chatting. One day, Tom is cleaning the bathroom. Toilets backed up. Nasty situation. Patricia is taking selfies with a customer for Instagram. Caption about women supporting women-owned businesses. Start to notice Patricia talks a lot about emotional labor. How exhausting it is to manage people and maintain community relationships. Meanwhile, Tom literally does all the physical labor. Never complains, never asks for recognition. We hire this new girl, Jessica. Jessica is 19, kind of shy, first job. Patricia immediately takes her under her wing, constantly coaching her about not letting men diminish her voice. Encouraging her to speak up, take space, demand respect. Sounds good in theory. But Jessica starts getting really aggressive with customers. Snapping at this regular named Howard because he asked for oat milk instead of almond. Telling him to check his privilege. Howard is like 70 and just wanted different milk. Patricia praises Jessica for standing her ground. Says, "We need more women willing to be difficult." Howard stops coming in. I bring up to Patricia that maybe we should balance assertiveness with customer service. She looks at me, disappointed. Asks if I am tone policing other women. Says that is internalized misogyny talking. I back down because I do not want to seem like a bad feminist. Tips start declining. Customers getting put off by the aggressive energy. Patricia blames it on the neighborhood gentrification. Says people do not want to support real feminist businesses. Posts long rant on Instagram about how capitalism punishes women who refuse to perform niceness. Meanwhile, Tom quietly implements a new inventory system that cuts costs by 15%. Patricia takes credit for innovative management during an interview with local blog. I start dating this guy, Derek. Meet him at protest march for reproductive rights. He is there with friends, seems passionate about social justice. We start talking, exchange numbers. Derek is studying social work. Wants to work with domestic violence survivors. Actually volunteers at Crisis Hotline. Sweet guy, kinda soft-spoken. Bring him by the coffee shop one day. Patricia is nice to his face. After he leaves, she pulls me aside. Asks if I am really dating a man. I say yes, confused why that matters. She gets this look. Says she thought I was more serious about dismantling patriarchy. Asks how I can claim to be feminist while centering men in my life. I explain that feminism does not mean hating men, means equality and choice. She does this sad smile, says I still have a lot to learn. Few weeks later, Derek offers to pick me up from closing shift. Neighborhood is kind of sketch late at night. Patricia sees him waiting outside. Next day tells me she does not feel comfortable with men loitering around the business. I explain he is my boyfriend and was just picking me up. She says maybe I should take the bus instead. Maintain clear professional boundaries. Derek stops picking me up. I start taking bus home at 11 p.m. Get harassed twice by drunk guys at bus stop. Feel less safe, but do not want to upset Patricia. One day, Tom does not come in. Patricia seems annoyed, says he called in sick. She has to do the opening herself, spends whole morning complaining about how hard it is, forgets to put out pastries, breaks the milk frother, leaves the bathroom dirty, realizes Tom does way more than she acknowledged, but instead of saying that, posts about how women have to do everything themselves, how men are unreliable even when they claim to be partners. I find out later Tom had the flu. Came back after 2 days, still looking rough. Patricia made passive-aggressive comments about his timing. Big community event coming up, and she needed him functional. The event is Feminist Small Business Expo. Patricia signed us up months ago. We are supposed to have booth showcasing the shop. Patricia wants everything perfect. Elaborate display, free samples, promotional materials. Week before event, Patricia tells Tom the booth setup is his responsibility. He needs to build display, arrange transport, coordinate logistics. Also, still do all his regular work. Tom just nods and says, "Okay." Tom stays up late building this beautiful wooden display. Hand-painted, really professional. Drives the shop van to event space. Sets up entire booth by himself. Brings all supplies. Arranges everything. Patricia shows up right before Expo opens. Takes her place at booth. Spends whole day talking to people about her woman-owned business. How she built it from the ground up. How hard it is for women entrepreneurs. Tom is literally standing right there, having done all the work. Nobody even acknowledges him. Patricia gets interviewed by local newspaper. Whole article about her as feminist business owner. Photo of just her. Tom not mentioned once. After Expo, Patricia goes on Instagram. Posts about how empowering it is to succeed as woman in male-dominated business world. How she did this all herself against incredible odds. I look at Tom in the back restocking supplies. Guy looks exhausted. Start feeling uncomfortable about the whole dynamic. Mention it to Jessica. Jessica says I am being judgmental. That Patricia has earned the right to celebrate herself. That women need to stop tearing each other down. Try to talk about it with Derek. Explain how the rhetoric does not match reality. Derek listens and agrees it sounds hypocritical, but also says, maybe there is context I am missing. Maybe Patricia does more than I see. Want to believe that? Start paying closer attention. Over next month, track what everyone actually does. Tom works 60 hours per week minimum. All opening shifts, most closing shifts, every repair, all bookkeeping. Patricia works maybe 25 hours per week. Mostly social media, chatting with customers, going to networking events. Patricia pays herself twice what she pays Tom. I see the payroll by accident when covering office. Tom makes $18 per hour for 60-hour weeks. Patricia pays herself $65,000 salary for part-time work. Business is registered in her name only. Tom has no ownership stake. Learn from Tom during quiet moment that he invested his entire inheritance into starting the business. Patricia had the idea and the vision. Tom had the money and the work ethic. Agreement was she would run front of house and he would run operations. Supposed to be equal partners. She registered it in her name for tax reasons. Said she would add him to ownership papers later. That was 8 years ago. Feel sick. This whole time Patricia has been building brand as feminist entrepreneur, entirely on the back of her husband, who she has never given equity to, who she pays barely above minimum wage, who she makes invisible in all marketing and press. Wonder if I should say something. But to who? Patricia is beloved in local feminist community. Regularly speaks at events about supporting women. Shop is seen as model of woman-owned business. If I speak up, I am the problem. Decide to talk to Tom directly. Catch him during slow afternoon. Carefully ask if he is happy with the arrangement. Tom looks surprised anyone is asking. Admits he thought he would be made partner years ago. But every time he brings it up, Patricia says the time is not right. Says she needs to maintain image as solo woman owner. That adding male partner would undermine her credibility. That he should understand and support her. So he does. Ask why he does not push harder. He shrugs, says he loves Patricia, wants her to succeed, believes in the mission of the business, figures his contribution matters even if nobody sees it. Feel awful. Here is this man literally sacrificing everything, so his wife can be celebrated as feminist icon, while she actively erases his contribution and exploits his labor. Couple weeks later, Patricia announces she is writing a book. Memoir about building feminist business empire. Got small publisher interested. Advance is not huge, but it is real. She is very excited. Starts spending work hours writing. Leaves Tom to cover even more. Book is obviously going to be all about her solo journey, her struggles, her triumphs, her vision. One chapter she reads aloud to staff during meeting, all about the sacrifices she made, the long hours, the financial risk, the physical exhaustion. I look at Tom. His face is neutral, but his eyes are dead. Jessica is inspired. Says she wants to be like Patricia someday. Strong woman who does not need anyone. I bite my tongue. Derek and I have been together 6 months. He is really good to me. Supportive, respectful, genuinely interested in equality. Volunteers more hours than he has to. Planning career in underpaid helping profession. Never expects praise or recognition. Patricia still makes little comments. Asks when I am going to prioritize myself. Suggests I am too young to be tied down. Says the best thing she ever did was maintain independence in her marriage. Independence apparently means taking full credit while providing minimal equity. Book comes out small run, but gets decent local attention. Bookstore does a launch event. Patricia invites all of us. Reading is packed with local feminists. Everyone praising her courage and vision. Tom is there in back row. He drove her to event, helped set up chairs earlier. We'll drive her home after. During Q&A, someone asks how she balanced business with marriage. Patricia laughs, says she was lucky her husband was secure enough to not be threatened, that he understood she needed to be the face of her own success. Says some men just get it. Audience applauds. Tom smiles supportively. I feel like I am losing my mind. This is gaslighting on community scale. Everyone celebrating this narrative that is fundamentally a lie. Few days later, I notice Jessica talking to Patricia. They are discussing Jessica's future. Patricia is encouraging her to think about starting her own business, telling her to find a man who will support her ambitions. Someone who will do the grunt work while she builds the vision. Says That is what real partnership looks like. Woman leads, man supports. Jessica is taking notes. I cannot take it anymore. During closing shift, when just Tom and I are there, I tell him I think what Patricia is doing is wrong, that he deserves equity and recognition, that this is exploitative regardless of the feminist framing. Tom is quiet for a long time, then says he appreciates my concern. But this is between him and his wife. Says marriage is complicated. Says Patricia has worked hard in her own way. Says he does not need recognition to feel valuable. I want to scream, but it is not my place. Start looking for new job. Cannot keep participating in this? Find opening at corporate coffee chain. Pays better, more consistent, no ideological baggage. Put in my 2 weeks. Patricia is disappointed. Says she thought I understood what they were building. Says going to work for corporation is betraying my values. I say I need the money and the boundaries. She sighs. Says capitalism has claimed another one. Last day, Patricia gives me card. Says she hopes I find my way back to real feminism. Inside card is copy of her book, signed with message about staying strong and centered in female power. I thank her. Say goodbye to Tom. He gives me small smile. Says he hopes I find what I am looking for. Leave feeling like I escaped something, but also feeling complicit for not burning it down on my way out. Few months later, see Patricia posted about being invited to speak at Regional Women's Business Conference. Topic is empowering the next generation of female entrepreneurs. Comments are all praise, calling her inspiration and role model. Derek asks why it bothers me so much. I try to explain. There is this whole movement about supporting women, but Patricia built her entire success on invisible labor of her husband. Paid him shit, gave him no equity, erased him from narrative. Then sold that story as feminist triumph. Derek thinks about it, says people are complicated, says maybe Patricia believes her own narrative, says cognitive dissonance is powerful thing. Maybe he is right, but I cannot shake it. Year later, see news that Bean Revolution is expanding. Opening second location. Patricia did interview about growth strategy. Talks about how she is finally seeing returns on years of hard work. How she is proof that women can build empires. Wonder if Tom got equity yet. Doubt it. Wonder if he ever will. Doubt it more. See Jessica works there still. She posted photo with caption about learning from the best, about how Patricia taught her that women do not owe men anything, especially not credit. Feel sad, not just for Tom, but for what this says about the movement. We talk so much about exploitation, about unpaid labor, about invisible work, about men taking credit for women's contributions. But when woman does exact same thing to man, and wraps it in feminist language, suddenly it is empowerment. Patricia's book gets picked up for larger printing. Small feminist press wants to distribute nationally. She is going on podcast circuit. Building real platform. Whole platform built on lie. But lie serves the narrative people want, so nobody questions it. I think about Tom sometimes. Wonder if he is happy. Wonder if he regrets the choices. Wonder if he ever stands up for himself. Mostly wonder what it means that we celebrate Patricia. Call her feminist icon. Hold her up as model. When she is just doing what we criticize men for doing. But we cannot see it because the framing is right. Derek and I are still together. He finished his degree, got job at nonprofit doing advocacy for abuse survivors, pays barely anything. He works constant overtime, comes home exhausted, never complains. His boss is woman named Clara. Clara takes credit for all program successes. blames Derek when things go wrong, pays him $35,000 for 50-hour weeks, pays herself $120,000 for 30-hour weeks. Just got written up in magazine as innovative leader in social services. Derek does not even see the problem. Says Clara has more experience. Says she deserves recognition for her vision. Says he is just happy to contribute. I see Patricia in him, or Tom in Clara, or something. Maybe the problem is not men or women. Maybe the problem is that we built a whole ideology that allows some people to exploit others, as long as they use the right words. Patricia is successful now. Book deal, speaking career, expanded business, praised everywhere as feminist success story. Meanwhile, Tom is still baking at 5 a.m., still fixing broken machines, still invisible, and everyone who sees the situation either does not care or actively defends it, because acknowledging the truth would complicate the narrative. I am not some men's rights activist, still believe in equality, still believe in fighting oppression, still believe women face real discrimination. But I also believe that using feminist language to justify exploitation makes us no different than what we claim to fight. Patricia did not smash patriarchy. She just replaced it with something that looks different, but functions the same. Tom enabled it by never demanding better. But Patricia built her empire by taking advantage of his love, and the community celebrated her for it. I work corporate coffee job now. Pay is better, work is simpler. No grand ideology, just honest transaction. I work, they pay, everyone knows where they stand. Sometimes customers ask why I do not work somewhere more ethical, somewhere independent and woman-owned. I just smile and say, this works for me. Could tell them about Patricia and Tom, about Jessica learning all the wrong lessons, about how feminist business model was just exploitation with better marketing. But nobody wants to hear that. Ruins the story they want to believe. Saw Patricia spoke at my old university last month. Student feminist organization invited her. Talked about her journey building business against all odds. About importance of women supporting women. About not letting anyone diminish your accomplishments. Standing ovation. Tom was probably home doing payroll, or fixing equipment, or planning inventory, making sure business runs so Patricia can keep giving speeches. Maybe in another 10 years he will get equity. Maybe she will finally acknowledge his contribution. Maybe the narrative will shift. But probably not. Because the story we tell is more important than the truth. And the story we tell is that Patricia is self-made. That she overcame. That she succeeded alone. Tom is just the help. Supportive husband who knows his place, exactly what we criticize when roles are reversed. But reverse the roles, and suddenly it is feminism. That is the part that breaks my brain. Not that Patricia is a bad person necessarily, but that the whole system supports her doing this, celebrates it, holds it up as model. I think about Jessica sometimes, wonder what kind of business owner she will become if she learned that success means finding someone to exploit. As long as you call it partnership, wonder how many more women will follow that model, call it feminist praxis. Never see the irony. Derek asked me last week if I would ever start my own business. I said no. He asked why. I said, because I would have to be either Patricia or Tom. And I do not want to be either. He did not understand. But I do. I understand that we built a movement that was supposed to be about equality, and somehow turned it into justification for the same hierarchies we claim to hate. Patricia has her book, her business, her speaking career, her reputation. Tom has his 5 a.m. shifts, his repair duties, his erased contribution, his quiet sacrifice. And somewhere a room full of young feminists are learning that this is what success looks like. This is what winning means. Extract value, claim credit, wrap it in the right language. Nobody will question it. I am not saying patriarchy was better. I am saying we did not dismantle it. We just changed who gets to be on top and called it revolution.